Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Pits of Motor Chaos. This is your host, Dave. I got a special guest, top alcohol funny car driver Tyson Parker. How's it going, Tyson?
Going great, Dave. Thanks for having me on.
No problem. So, how's the car been running for you this year?
It's doing pretty good. Ran my personal best, 566 at 258. It had some issues, throughout the year. We've just been kind of fighting some little gremlins, but all around, the car's really coming around well. I'm really excited for what we'll be doing with it here soon.
So, how many more events you got for the rest of the year?
Now we're down to, we'll do the end of the year swing. We'll go Vegas, Pomona for the end of the year. So, looking forward to running Vegas. I haven't driven in Vegas before. I've been there plenty of years working on cars, but it'll be fun to drive there for the first time.
Awesome. All right, so let's turn back the clock, Tyson. How did you get into drag racing?
I started off in junior dragsters when I was 8 years old. Basically grew up around drag racing. When I was first born, my family was actually into sand drags, and then shortly thereafter, my uncle was a big part of moving it over to drag racing, and I was straight into a top alcohol funny car. And so then in the early '90s, I grew up there out of the track with them racing, and then '96. Right after I turned 8 would have been the first year when I started running junior dragsters.
So, how many years did you do the junior dragster for?
I ran those for 8 years, so until I was 16. And then when I was 16, I got a chance to license in a small block injected alcohol nostalgia dragster that ran like mid-nines. And so I transitioned to that and was able to run that just a little bit. It was a friend's car that let me drive a little bit. And then from there, ended up having a chance to drive a rear engine dragster. It was actually a pretty cool dragster. With the front wing or no rear wing, the front wing that was more of a diamond shape, just the old school rear engine dragster, kind of that first design of the rear engine dragsters. And that thing had a big block injection on alcohol, and we ran, I got down to 860s, something like that with that thing. And then a little bit after that was given a chance to drive blown alcohol front engine dragster. And that was pretty cool. A guy named Tom Green gave me a chance to drive his dragster in a class that was called Northwest Top Eliminator Association. So we ran a 750 index, high gear only, blown alcohol or injected nitro setups, and that was a blast. That was the first blown alcohol clutch car I got a chance to drive.
So, what year did you first start driving a funny car?
That wasn't until years later. There was a little gap there from after I drove that thing. There was a little gap before I was able to get back into a car, and ended up getting my license in a nostalgia funny car that runs a Double B association that my uncle Randy Parker and Ron Hughley put together this association that ran a 670 index, and so they run nostalgia bodies and blown alcohol, and that was pretty cool to get a chance to drive one of those. And then it was just probably 3 or 4 years ago when I first got a chance to make my first hit in a top alcohol funny car.
So, when you got your funny car license, who signed off for your license?
I said who signed off on it?
Yeah.
I believe by my dad and my uncle. They both have top alcohol funny car licenses. They've both been racing forever, and my aunt Kim Parker and my cousin Stephanie Parker, whole family races. So, then it wasn't until just last year when I got a chance to take over driving it full time. So,
And right now your dad's driving eight fuel dragster?
Yep. He teamed up with Greg Lawrence, and they got after his his A-Fuel dragster and did a bunch of updates for it this year, and really got that thing running well this year. They went 529 and 528 at Seattle, and last week in testing went 528 to get at Woodburn, and so they're doing a great job with that thing.
Yeah, he'll be on there with me tomorrow night. He's happy you're going on before him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now
that'll be fun. That'll be fun to get a turnaround and have him on tomorrow night.
Yeah. So what was the experience like for you to, going from driving dragsters into a funny car?
Definitely a little different animal. Dragster is definitely a lot more finesse the way that you steer them, and funny car you kind of you have to really be in charge and drive a lot more aggressively in those things, and it makes it's a lot of fun. But they can definitely be a challenge.
So no claustrophobia for you when they put the body down on you?
No, fortunately that's nothing that's really ever bothered me. Especially when the car starts and they put that body down, everything really goes away, and you're just kind of in the zone. Just I play through the run so many times in my head before each run. When that body comes down, you just kind of go into that zone, and I don't even think about the fact of being all strapped down, locked down, and body down, and limited visibility out of the windshield, and all that just goes away, and you just kind of just do your job.
So now, after all these years of doing this drag race thing, from starting as a little kid up till now, what still keeps you passionate about it?
Sorry, what's the what? Sorry, broke up a little bit there.
I said, after all these years of doing the drag race thing, starting from a little kid in a junior dragster till now, what still keeps you passionate about drag racing?
Oh, it's still a challenge. There's always, from a driver standpoint, I still have a lot of experience I need to gain and a lot that I need to, learn. And it's a challenge every time that I put myself in that car, trying to do better than I have before. And then the same thing from a tuning standpoint. You're always, chasing, new ideas you want to try, or, just picking away at the car, trying to work through. Like this year, we've been working through some gremlins that we've had, and just, then you go and you get a good run, and, that's just motivation right there. It's just that constant chase of, outperforming your last run and the challenge of it. And then I also enjoy the thrashing between rounds and all that. When I wasn't driving, I was working on an 8-fuel dragster for a while. And then I enjoyed that, the thrashing between rounds and stuff. But I'm really fortunate to get a chance to drive now.
So now, you said you drove an 8-fuel dragster before?
What was that?
Did you just say you drove an 8-fuel dragster before?
No. I was in between when I wasn't driving. I was just crewing on Garrett Bateman and Rick Hickleman's 8-fuel dragster. So I was just working on it, but that's still constant push and thrashing between rounds, and there's a lot of fun in that too.
So you've never driven a nitro car yet?
Not yet, but hopefully I'll get a chance before too long.
Yeah. So is that one of your bucket list things, to drive a nitro car?
Oh yeah. And honestly, there's a lot more cars I'd love to drive. I'd love to drive a nitro altered. That would just be like, especially at night with the header flames and everything, or nostalgia fuel car, something like that. But an 8-fuel car would be awesome to get into. As I know, it's a whole different animal in the way that they pull so hard through the middle. That's something I definitely want to experience someday. Now,
would you ever drive a pro mod if you're given a chance?
Yes. Absolutely. I think that'd be a blast. Those things can get squirrely real quick, but, probably I trust it, absolutely.
All right, so now when you first got into drag racing, growing up, did you have any like heroes, influential drivers out there?
Honestly, a lot of it, a lot of those even on my family, just as far as looking up, growing up with my dad and uncle running Top Alcohol Funny Car, I always really looked up to them a lot on everything. Honestly, that was more so than some of your big name drivers. Obviously, grew up watching Forrest and all these big names, and Eddie Hill and all those guys back then in the 90s that, were big names in the sport. But it wasn't, I had my personal interest and respect and, admiration for my dad and my uncle and everything that they were doing with it. And they were probably some of my biggest influences on it.
So it's all your dad and your uncle's fault that you got into this, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
But you wouldn't change it for anything?
Absolutely not. It's been great experiences, and I can't wait. It's really fun now getting back to really racing with my dad. And for a while when I was just working on other teams and grabbing other cars and stuff, I had a blast with all of them, and I appreciate everyone for the opportunities they gave me. But working, racing with my dad now, and just our whole team that we have going right now is awesome. We got Barry William that recently actually moved out here and got a shop that he's really working with us a lot on our race program. Has really been a huge asset to our racing program. And then we have Chris Ferguson, who's been with us for 6 years on the car. He is just an amazing help. At the track, he does a great job, and all the time he puts into the shop, and we're very fortunate to have him. And then Aaron Anderson has been helping us out recently, which has been a great time having him out there, having him help out with Chris on the clutch and just helping service car between rounds. And then we got Roy and Glenn that recently started helping us out too, and they've been an amazing help. And we just have occasionally Scott Bruni come and fill in. There's just so many people that are involved with our program that just make it a blast to be out there, and everyone works really well together. And it's they're very fortunate to have this opportunity that I do.
Yeah, you have to have a good crew behind you.
Oh, absolutely. And it's hard to come by. It's hard to come by real good crew members that aren't already tied up with someone else.
Yeah. So, do you have any sponsors?
So my dad's automotive shop, Parker's Auto Electric. Mike Sharpillo Motorsports, he's involved with us, helps us out too. I can't forget to thank Mike for everything he's done with our program and potential future endeavors together with him. So Mike's been great for us too. And then I have to thank my grandpa and the actually fishing lure company I'm working for with him, Good Day Fishing, and allowing me to take the time off that I need to for racing. That's been awesome. And other than that, we're more of a low budget car right now. We're still working on more things for the future, but we do what we can with what we've got. And
now, do you do 8th Mile racing too?
8th Mile, I have not. That'd be a lot of fun to play some of that too. As far as when I was living in Indiana for a year, when I did a little bit of grudge racing with my friend Ryan Hill, that had a pro mod out there, and that kind of stuff. That's a lot of fun too. There's only so much time there. We already have our hands full with our current car. So, but given an opportunity to play with stuff like that, that's always a blast too.
Yeah, you can always go to one of those. If you get time, go one of those funny car chaos events and run an 8th Mile.
Yep. Yeah. Oh yeah. I need to get to one of those. That'd be a blast.
Because you can run what you brung for those of any kind of funny car.
Yep.
So you could bring that top off funny car, and you're good to go.
Nice. Yeah, that'd be cool. I know. Like what I would do with my friend with this pro mod in Indiana, that was big tire, didn't matter, run what you brung kind of race we did in Milan, just outside Detroit. That was a blast. And yeah, there's definitely want to get away with running a sprint car on that. So we might have to see what we can do.
Yeah. Now for you, Tyson, do you have any pre-race rituals or superstitions at all when you're out there?
Not superstitions, more so just, like I kind of mentioned earlier, whether it's once I'm strapped in or when I first get there for the weekend in the car, sit there and really run through just the whole race. And my eyes closed, run through all the motions. Instead of actually doing the foot swap, actually holding the stage RPM, just sitting there in the car and really running through in my head the whole run. And from the time that body goes down to the time I throw the chutes. And just really dialing that in and just kind of focusing on your breathing, just really kind of putting yourself in a really calm place and just focusing on what I'm going to do on the run.
Now, what kind of preparation goes into getting that alcohol funny car ready for a weekend?
Depending on how the race before went, hopefully you're not dealing with a bunch of broken parts, but no matter what, we're going to get back to the shop, pull the rack out of it, and really look things over, look the crank over really well, go through all the mains, go through the heads really well, just really make sure that we haven't missed anything, that there's nothing going on. Depending on where we're at on laps for rods or pistons or whatever, there's times where it's time to swap some parts out. And valve springs, there's a life to all of these things that hopefully you catch before you grenade it. But just on after a normal race, when we haven't heard anything, hey, just get back and pull the blower off it, get the heads off it, get the rack out of it, really look close to the pistons and rods, lot of little stuff like that, and then all the work that goes into keeping the trailer stocked and prepped, and a lot of nights at the shop and weekends and stuff in between. Just really keeping the program moving.
So now, what are some of your favorite tracks to race on?
I always liked, so Woodburn's a special place in my heart just because I grew up at that track. That was my home track, 20 minutes away from where I lived, and I spent a lot of time out there. But I always really liked going up and running Mission. That was always a fun track to go run. It was really cool. Last year, I got a chance to run Pomona for the first time, and that was cool. Just go to this Pomona to World Finals. That's just awesome. I'm looking forward to getting a chance to run there again. But yeah, probably Mission was one that I always really, really enjoyed. Almost always killer air up there. But the only bad thing is the mosquitoes. Other than that track is killer. And just the facility and the fans and everything, that track's a lot of fun to go to. But it's also hard to beat the World Finals at Pomona.
Now, have you ever raced at Route 66 in Illinois yet?
No, I've been there several times with other cars, but I haven't had a chance. My track base is still more limited right now. I haven't made that far east yet, so I'd love to go run Joliet, to go run Route 66, and there's a lot of cool tracks out there. I was looking at it. It was cool getting a chance to go to some of the different races out there. I'm going to Cordova and Martin, and there's a lot of cool tracks out there. But I haven't had a chance to make it out there with top alcohol car or anything yet, other than just cruising on them.
Now, where do you get all your fire safety equipment from?
Taylor Motorsports. And so we're out of California. They actually just moved their facilities up to Albany, so they're actually not even that far away from us now. But they make great products. So fire suit, a lot of our safety equipment as far as the valve cover restraints, and blowers, the supercharger restraints, and the diaper for the motor, and transmission blanket. Most everything on our car, to the sheet packs, basically everything that has to be fireproof or SFI certified for restraints. All that's basically everything that we do comes from Taylor.
All right, now Tyson, what would you consider to be some of the milestones of your drag racing career so far?
Honestly, last week or 2 weeks ago at Woodburn, we got our first round event win and went to the final. So that was pretty awesome. Unfortunately, I had a couple of issues, and I did not do my part as a driver because I was fighting the car trying to roll on me a little bit, and they lost on a whole shot in the final. So that still stings a little bit, but we'll move on from it. It was still a great weekend for us, and more motivation to go try to win soon. And the first time, right when I got my top alcohol license, that was awesome. Just because at that point it was, that was already a big accomplishment. And lots of little accomplishments. I mean, not milestones for like winning, big races or anything like that. But even like that first nostalgia dragster I drove, having the first blown alcohol dragster that I'd ever strapped into, be front engine and couldn't see over the blower, didn't see the front wheels or anything, and really, driving that thing kind of by the seat of your pants, and that thing, it was a smaller tire, so about half track every run, that thing would start slipping the tire and basically kind of sashay back and forth the rest of the run. And those things were fun to drive, and just it was a good experience too. And getting the chance to drive those and never pile one up, that was good. So, but yeah, really, the other weekend, getting out there and being able to go to the final, that was probably one of the best moments yet.
Then you said this year you just reached your your fastest run time this year?
Yeah, I went 566 at 258, and so that's the fastest that I've ever been. And that's when we went 570, 568. We had some good runs that weekend. And the car's showing a lot of potential. Like I said, we've just been finding some of these little gremlins that we just feel like we're so close to this car. And then we just keep picking away and just, getting through all these little things, little issues that keep coming up, and we're really close with this thing.
Now, going back to the junior dragster, Tyson, what was the experience like for the first time ever going down a drag race track?
First time, I I was super nervous, kind of scared, but it wasn't because I was scared of driving the thing so much as I was at a bigger race, so I had everyone there, my dad and all the other race car drivers, all the other things, there's going to be a lot of people watching, and so I was more nervous about the pressure of that. And so I kept being like, oh no, I'll wait for the next run. Oh, well, I'll wait for the next run. And finally my dad just made me run it. And after that, then it was like, can I go again? Can I go again? Like, after that first run, yeah, it was game on. Hooked from right then.
So how'd you do in the junior dragster? Were you pretty successful?
Did all right with it. We were never really, I guess never really was on the mindset of super about chasing points and that kind of thing. When we were playing with how can we make it run faster, so we spent a lot more time just trying to keep making it run faster than just leaving it alone and really just trying to go a lot of rounds. But we won a few races with it and got our number one qualifiers and got all my plaques and stuff and everything from that. But it was one of those deals. I already had the mindset like we do now of keep tinkering, keep trying to make it go faster. But it wasn't just like I said, if we would have just left it alone and not cared about doing that kind of thing, so I could have won some more races and done a little bit better, but that was already not my mindset then.
Now, how about currently? Is that still the same mind frame? You want to go faster and faster?
Oh, absolutely. That's the motivation, that's the goal, what really keeps you after it.
So you always got that need for speed.
Yeah, and it's, there's things that come up in these cars all the time, and sometimes it's not just that. It's also, like I mentioned earlier, as far as really just getting better as a driver, too. It's where even when things aren't going right, I'm doing a better job handling them. Where it goes down shakes and being better at pedaling it and still stringing the gears out, or more consistent on the starting line. There's always things that I'm trying to make myself better at, too. So it's the challenge of that, plus the challenge of, figuring out the tune-up for the funny car and keep getting that thing running faster and faster. And get more competitive, try to start, really going after more races with this thing.
All right, now, throughout your drag racing career, have you had any accidents or close calls?
Couple kind of close calls. I haven't wrecked one. So I haven't crossed the center line yet and haven't hit the wall yet. So, knock on wood. But back to that nostalgia dragster. There was one time we were running that in Spokane, and it had a little bit of an oil leak out of the right side valve cover, and so it made a big swing for the wall, got straightened out, and started making another swing, and I had already lifted, and it was about as close as you could get away with. Kind of scared the owner a little bit, but it was fine. And then I got the funny car make some pretty violent moves. It was actually a couple months ago at Woodburn. Actually, I had a chance to run my dad. He was running the A-Fuel Dragster, and it just had an exhibition deal when we were just testing. And it went out, and it hooked left hard, and I got out of it, and when I corrected, it scraped the header. There was sparks off the header in one of the videos from the stands. But those are some of my more exciting ones.
So who won that race?
Oh, my dad. That thing made a hard move. I just got out of it. I didn't even try to pedal back into it. And it was later at night. He went out, and I had a front row seat for him, getting a little bit squirrely in the A-Fuel car, but he had to get out of it a little bit early, too. But both of us had a little bit of fun on that one.
All right. Now, you ready for some fun questions here?
Yeah.
Okay. First fun question is, if someone were to come up to you, Tyson, and give you, say, $800 million, and they're like, hey, Tyson, I want you to build a brand new drag race track, where would you even consider building a new drag race track, and what kind of features would you want to put into that new track?
All right. The where. That's a tough one. I haven't thought about that one. That was pretty good. So, like, the attributes I'd wanted to have, so like Seattle, the altitude of it, plus being in such a wooded area, like so much trees, like the air of Seattle can be killer. We're sitting up at Mission, but I'd want somewhere further south that would be more sunny days every year. I don't know if Northern California. I'd probably still have to head further south. But personally, I would still stay out west and stay away from the humidity. Let me think. That's a good question. That's a good one. And then as far as amenities, trying to think about some of the things I like about certain tracks. I guess besides obviously that much money, it would be the most like track ever as far as flat and great. I mean, you could build an amazing track with that kind of budget. But actually, what would be kind of cool is it's not as practical for there's a national event track or whatever, but like Spokane, where it's down in a valley, and the way that everything echoes through there and the sound of everything is just awesome. I think that I would do something like that, where just because of the experience for the fans and everything, first time the track down, a little bit lower level, and have the grandstands where for the fan experience, just the way that it thunders through an area like that. But pits, I would keep them closer, and it wouldn't be a 10-minute trip to the track, like some tracks. But as far as amazing, whatever, I think I'm more intrigued about the idea of being able to pick out any location, just because of trying to match ideal circumstances for both altitude, corrected altitude, and the quality of the air, just to really try to create a track that can lay down the absolute fastest numbers. That has me more intrigued. What about you? Where would you build one?
I've never even thought about it. I ask the question all the time, but I've never even thought about it myself.
I thought about that. I thought I'd reverse it on you for once and see if you already had your answer or not.
But for like one of the features, I'd probably put the covered grandstands to keep the sun out of the, off the bleachers.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. There you go, back to the whole covered track idea, where then it doesn't matter if it tries to rain.
I think we need to have some kind of other activities to keep kids occupied if they get bored with the drag racing.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Then I asked another question the other day to someone about because some of the tracks you watch live feeds and you see a lot of empty seats these days. I was asking how we can get more people into the tracks these days, and someone told me some of these tracks need to get Wi-Fi. That'll help bring people in there. They can use their Wi-Fi.
yeah. No, there. Some of the things on that one, I think there's a lot of things we do to bring background attendance to these things. That was one thing that was cool actually when I was out there. Going to Cordova and some of the tracks I went to when I was living out there. There were some cool events put on that had really big turnouts. And some of it, get back to creating really the rivalries, like when you had, Steak and Mongoose and some of these big rivalries, and really play on some of those. And really, I think there's a way you could create a bigger following because of, people, like for football, you have your teams, you have your, people that you really care about and get really excited about. And guys, most people have the favorite driver, but if you could recreate some more of the actual kind of rivalries, I think that would be big.
Oh yeah, grudge matches, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so now Tyson, besides drag racing, do you have any other hobbies?
What was that?
Besides drag racing, any other hobbies for you?
Yeah. So grew up was BMX biking and skateboarding and all that, and feeling a little too old for some of that, but still snowboarding, just trying to get to the mountain. That's a big one for me, and it helps to just use it in our off season. So got a little more free time where I can actually do that. And during the summer, I try to get out to the lake as much as I can, get out on the boat, go do some fishing and stuff like that. But probably one of the big ones I try to make a priority is trying to get up to the mountain as much as I can. Go snowboarding, that kind of thing. That's always been one of my favorite places to be.
So when you go fishing, what kind of fish you like to fish for?
Out here, pretty much do salmon fishing. I want to get into some kokanee fishing too. But so me and my grandpa run a fishing lure company that builds gear for salmon fishing. So that's my job, and get a chance to go do that and do a little R&D and develop new products and get out on the water. So predominantly what we do out here is salmon fishing.
Okay, now what kind of stuff does Tyson Parker have on his bucket list that he wants to do one day?
A lot of it is traveling, both to more tracks in the States while I can. As tracks are getting closed down, those tracks I wish I could have gone to that have already closed, and that I need to get to before they do. Especially some of the tracks back east, some of the ones that just have so much history. And then just traveling in general. A lot of my bucket list stuff is traveling stuff, as far as Europe and some of these places that have so much history there behind them. But back on the drag racing thing, would be definitely to get a couple of Wallies, some regional events, some national events. Those are some of the biggest ones for me right now. Is more life experience things that I want to be able to do. Like I said, being able to go do this traveling and go to some places I want, be able to go visit more tracks and race at more tracks I haven't been to, and hopefully win some Wallies here soon.
All right, now in the top alcohol deal, do you have a greatest competitor in that field?
I don't know about great. Yeah, well, I mean, there's a lot of awesome cars out here, but Chris Marshall, you have one coming one of these days. Somehow I managed to race Chris Marshall so many times in the first round, and I haven't got him yet. But one of these days, it's gonna be my turn. So. He's a great guy. I always enjoy racing him, and I'm talking to him in the pits and whatnot. Chris is a great guy. His whole team, they're great, and they've handled that car. That car's been running killer, and we have the joke. We both know one of these days is my time. So I'd say that's my biggest one right now. Is that I have to beat Chris Marshall soon.
All right. Now, Tyson, if you were able to turn the clock back and go back in time, would you do anything differently with your drag racing career?
Not really. I'm happy with the experience that I've been able to have, and just in general, that's kind of how you start in general. As far as going back, I wouldn't change anything. If there, I could argue that I would like to make something happen to get into top alcohol car sooner, because how much fun I've been having driving it. But really, I don't regret anything about the way that it has gone, and I'm, very, very fortunate to have the opportunities I do now. And we're looking at trying to do more as far as looking for some sponsorship, trying to really step up our program even for next year, and we'll see what all plays out. But honestly, I've just been blessed being able to have all these opportunities I've had so far.
All right, now what's been the most embarrassing moment you had on the track?
Personally, to me, last weekend in the final round, when the car was crawling on me, I let myself get distracted and have my worst reaction time ever by far, especially in competition, and lost on a hole shot. That one still stings a little bit. Aside from that, as far as really actually embarrassing moments on the track, that one, I'm going to stick with that one.
All right. So what's Tyson Parker's favorite food to eat?
Well,
I said, what's Tyson Parker's favorite food to eat?
Favorite food to eat?
Favorite food, yeah.
Favorite food? Probably just Mexican food in general. If I have a go-to, let's go get a killer burrito or some killer tacos or something. We got a chain out here that all have basically kind of same kind of things, and they've got killer burritos. That's one of my go-tos.
Favorite beverage?
Favorite beverage? Honestly, I've been trying to just drink a lot more water recently. I like a good beer, and I'm not much into. I used to drink way too much Mountain Dew. That was definitely a favorite for a while, but trying to keep that one more water right now.
What's your favorite beer?
Favorite beer? Me and one of my buddies actually brew some beer, and we've done a couple of batches that have been pretty killer. But there's one out here. I'm trying to think. It's Breakside, and it's called Wanderlust, and it's an IPA. It's a pretty killer beer.
All right. What's your favorite movie of all time?
Ooh, favorite movie of all time? That's a tough one. I'm definitely more about comedies like Step Brothers and
Talladega Nights.
Oh yeah, and let's see, when I was growing up, like Super Troopers, as ridiculous as that one is. That one I haven't watched it forever now, but back in the day, that was a favorite for a while. Definitely more the stupid comedies like that. Also, like, what was it? The Rundown with Rock and Johnny Knoxville. That was a good one. Definitely some of the stupid comedies are some of my favorites.
So, what's your favorite music to listen to?
That's another one too. I'm not really one track kind of deal on that either. I listen to a fair amount of rap, but that actually not very much of the newer stuff, but I have like Atmosphere and artists like that. Run the Jewels.
So old school rap.
Oh yeah, well definitely some old school too. But like actually, one of my YouTube playlists plays Dead Prez hip hop all the time, and I love that song. But but then like doing Summer of the Lake or whatever that has to be oldies. That has to be 70s. That has to be 70s and 80s. At the track, I always have it on my Rage Against the Machine station for Stereo in the Pits. That's my go-to there. Definitely mix it up a bit.
All right. So, when you were a little kid, what was your favorite cartoon?
Well, my favorite cartoon. Oh, that's another tough one. When I was a little kid, I was watching, Ernest Ray and they walked away videos and stuff like that more than I was watching cartoons. But let's see. That time I would have been watching cartoons really. That was like Nickelodeon days, probably like Rocket Power and Rugrats and stuff like that. I never got big into like some like the Teenage Ninja Mutant Turtles. Even though I watched all of some of my friends, but I never got big into any one real thing like that. I said a lot of the times it was more stuff like And They Walked Away and stuff like that. So, do you remember that movie series of And They Walked Away?
No.
So they had like 15 of them, but it was all like drag racing and motorsports accidents. But the thing was, And They Walked Away, so there was no one that really got hurt or died or anything like that. But it was all sorts of motorsports, drag racing, dirt track, NASCAR, whatever, all sorts of different drag racing accidents.
All right. So, if people want to find where you're going to be racing at, what's the best way for people to find out where you're going to be racing at?
Honestly, I need to step up on that a little bit and create a page just for our racing team. But my Facebook, I post a lot of times when we're racing there on my Facebook. If and search for Tyson Parker, you'll see a picture of me as my race car. Right? That was actually a really cool shot. We got a Seattle, the overhead shot. That was a cool picture of the car. But yeah, so I really need to set that up. I'll create a Facebook page for our team, and it'll be a Parker Racing Facebook page. So.
All right. So, what's been the fondest memory of your drag racing career?
Honestly, when I first got my top alcohol license, that was really cool, and just doing it with my dad and everything like that. Just some of the fondest memories have been racing with my dad. Even one year there was when I was working on that A fuel car on Garrett Bateman and Bert Singleman's A fuel dragster. Brandon couldn't be there. Brandon Singleman couldn't be there, and so my dad came and raced with us, and we won the national event that weekend. And I was able to work on the car with my dad and win the national event with Garrett and Rick, and that was really cool. Also, it's just been some of the moments and achievements with the top alcohol car, and road racing my dad has been awesome. So, and so having my aunt, uncle, and cousin, and everyone else out there is such a family ordeal. And then when my mom gets to be out there and she comes and hangs out, that's always awesome having her out. And she's always done so much to support us with how much time we've been gone and everything that we put into racing that I really can't even start to thank her enough for everything that she put up with for us to be able to do everything that we were doing. So.
Yeah, you got your intermediate family, then you got your drag racing family.
Yep, and a lot of mine overlaps with both. So.
Yeah, it is.
Yep.
My
aunt came out there running her A-Field racer. They've been doing amazing with that thing. My Uncle Randy tuning it, and they've been running really hard with their A-Field car. And then my cousin running the Nostalgia Funny cars, and yeah, it's cool having everyone involved out there.
Yep, that's awesome. So now, Tyson, I want to thank you very much for taking time to do the interview.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
You have any final words, thank yous, any stuff before we close?
Yeah, I mean, I know I already really covered it, but I just want to thank everyone again. My dad has done so much to create the opportunities for me that he has, so I can't even start to thank him enough. And for actually hopping out of the driver's seat and letting me hop in. He only got a chance to hop into an A-Field car, so he still got that going for him. But just the chance that he gave me, just even hand me the driver's seat of the funny car is amazing. And like I was just mentioning, my mom, everything she's always done to support this, and my grandparents, everything that they did over the years, and still fun having my grandpa out of the track. And then, like I said, all the crew members that make this possible, from Barry Hoyland and everything that he does for our program and everything that he is helping us with moving forward for the future. And like I said, Chris has been amazing for us. Aaron and Roy and Glenn and Scott and Brittany when they come out. I can't thank everyone enough for everything they've done to make this possible for me.
Well, thanks again, Tyson. I wish you the best of luck with the rest of the season.
Thank you very much, Dave. Thanks for having me on.
And anybody listening right now, tune in tomorrow. We got Tyson's dad on. That should be fun.
Yep, that'll be awesome. We'll see his side of things, right?
Yep.
I'll be listening.
All right, thanks again, Tyson.
Not a problem.
Have
a good one.
Have a great night.
All right, bye.
Bye.